Hey everybody, welcome to Feature Friday. My name is Matt. I am the training manager here at Beacon Software. Today we're going to be taking a look at our Retow feature, our swap out feature, and also our duplicate call feature, and just trying to determine why we want to use these in different situations. We've added these features a couple months ago, got some feedback on it, we made some fixes, but we wanted to discuss just how to use those today, and we'll jump straight in. So take a look at this screen here. So I have our Dispatch Anywhere already open here. So we'll start with duplicating calls and why we're going to use that. So with duplicating calls, we want to use that in a case of we have multiple cars possibly at a location. Maybe we have a police wreck of some kind and we need to create a couple calls very quickly. So if I take, we'll just take, let's say this Matt's Racing Supply call here. All right. So I have most of this information already filled out here. Maybe this one's going back to my impound, and I've added some of my services here at the bottom. Let's say I have, this Ford Explorer at this location, but I have two other cars, for example. Well, I can quickly hit in our More option, Duplicate Call. It does give us a warning, letting us know that we are going to be creating a new one and it can't be undone. So I'll hit Yes. And what happens with a duplicate call is all the same information at the top stays the same, and it does clear our services here at the bottom. So we would have to add maybe another tow to this call, maybe some en route, whatever services we're going to bill, possibly storage, things like that to this call, right? Now, we would just have to change out this information. So maybe this one's a Honda Civic, for example, and it's red. And maybe I don't have the VIN number. So it allows us to quickly create calls, and then I can save this one, maybe duplicate it again. And this is the last car. It's a 2000, Mustang Black. Okay. So now I've created 3 calls quickly. Now the difference with this is it does create, this is call 10665, the previous call 10664, and then my original call 10660. So what you're doing is you're actually creating 3 separate calls with 3 separate call numbers. So when I invoice this out, or invoice these calls out, I'm getting 3 separate invoices at this point. So that's how or why you would use duplicating call. Now, the other 2 features here, the next one's going to be a swap out. Swap out could, and it's in this drop down here, swap out can basically be used for, one of our customers uses it for, they swap out cars at the airport. So we might have, the car that's at the airport, we're taking a car out to this customer and then taking that car back maybe to a body shop or maybe even back to our location. That's one of the reasons you might use swap out. You're basically switching out vehicles at a location. So what we do here, we'll go ahead and close this out here. Let's use that original call here. I'm going to use the swap out feature. Are you sure you want to create a swap out for this job? This action can't be undone. So just like before, I'm going to hit yes. Now what you'll notice on this call, so let's go back to our original. Our original call had this Dorland Avenue and this Salford Avenue as our destination. When I do a swap out, it flip-flops the addresses because you're picking up a car and bringing it back. Potentially, you could change the destination maybe if you're taking it somewhere else, but basically these will flip. And then you'll notice my car information cleared out. So when I did a duplicate call, it stayed the same. So with a swap out, it's assuming you're grabbing a different vehicle. So let's just do, we'll say this is a 2000 Mustang again. I'll say it's red. All right. Add some defaults here. Maybe we'll add, let's say dollies to this one. All right. You'll notice that this swapped out vehicle is called 10660. My original call is 10660. It's creating the same call number for both calls. What this is going to allow us to do is put all this information on one invoice. And I'll show you how that's done here in a second. All right, so let's take off, let's just say we only have the tow on this original one. Let's save it. So I have 2 calls. I need to finish these out to show you how to merge them. But let's go ahead. Let's pretend that the driver did everything today. And I'm going to put a finish time on this. 2 o'clock, for example. And we're going to save it. So it finishes out the first call. And then my other call already has some information in it. I'm just going to go ahead and finish it out today at the same time and close it. All right. So what I've done, I did a swap out on those vehicles. It switched the information. I finished those calls out. Now, if I would look up those calls, I have 2 calls. One shouldn't be an impound, but let's take it out of impound actually. All right, so I have 2 finished calls now. If I pulled up this invoice, and while it loads, let's bring up the other one too. This is the first call. This is all that information, that Dorland Avenue, Saddleford, and it's the information only for that one call. Now my second invoice, again, it's the information, but it's flip-flopped, but information only for that second call. Nothing has been merged yet. To merge these invoices, we have to do that through the accounting section. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into our accounting section. I'm going to go to create invoicing or posting of our jobs. Right. Here's my calls. So I have 2 calls. And remember, one call we only put the tow on it, and then the other call we did the en-route mileage and the dollies here. Right. We have a warning here letting us know that we have 2 calls with the same call number. We know that this is what we wanted to do. I'm going to go ahead and select these and override it. And then I'm going to save those invoices. So when we're posting it or creating the invoice for these swap outs, you have to do this step if you want everything to show up on one invoice. All right, so we'll go back into, close these out here. All right, we'll bring up those invoices again now. So we'll do preview invoice. I'll even do it on the second one here. All right, so both of these are exactly the same now. But what you'll notice, this is the call information for the first one. This is the call information for the second one. Now you'll notice that one has a tow on it. The second one had the tow en-route mileage and dollies. This one happens to span 2 pages because of the invoice style I'm using. And then we have the total amount due here at the bottom. So at this point what I've done is I've swapped out a vehicle, same call number, and it created one invoice after I posted it. That's the main step that we see a lot of people miss. They forget to post the call to create one big invoice. It will not be done until it's actually merged in that step. So pretty straightforward on that. Close those out here. But we could run either invoice. It doesn't matter which one we use. They're both the same invoice at this point. But again, all the information, tow, all the other services, and then my total at the bottom. So pretty easy with that. Again, big step that people miss is the posting step or the create invoice step for those invoices. All right, so that's swap out. Now, the last feature that we've added recently was the Retow feature. Now, this is going to be used for your impounds or when you're retowing or towing the same vehicle. So swap out 2 different vehicles, retow is the same vehicle. All right, so I'm going to grab one of our impounds. Let's grab this legacy. Let's go into the call here. And I'm going to take this hold off of it so I'm actually able to release it. So let me do a quick save on it. All right, so let's just throw an address on here. That should be good. Let's save it. So we'll verify that address. All right, so the Subaru Legacy, you know, I originally picked it up here. It was in my impound lot, and now maybe I'm taking it to a body shop. Maybe I'm taking it to another location. I could create another call, but then again, if I'm creating another call, I get 2 separate invoices, 2 separate call numbers. If I want to, though, under this More dropdown, we have a Retow option. Now, this only becomes available for impounded vehicles, so let's go ahead and click on it. What's going to happen? It will make us release that car out of our impound now because you're towing it out. So I may be billing it to Beacon Building, you know, released on today. I'm releasing it to maybe, in this case, it would probably be myself. So I'm going to put Greenlight Towing here. And then maybe I know the owner information, maybe I don't. I'll just put my name here for right now. All right. So it totals up the storage for us, the impound fee and the private property impound or whatever services you have on the call. We're not taking a payment in this step. All we're doing is we're releasing the vehicle out of impound, and it's going to create our second call for us. So let's go ahead and release it. Vehicle released successfully, so we hit OK. Are you sure you wanted to create the Retow? Now, this is, again, if you hit a mistake, you can always hit no, but I'm going to hit yes in this case. And it creates my second call. So again, the second call is the same job number. I still have all the same information at the top. It does clear out my destination. So with the Retow, it assumes you're starting at your location now. So let's go back to our original. So my destination address on my first call becomes my pickup address or my starting location on my second call, and then it doesn't have a destination. It doesn't know where you're taking it. So I could be taking, let's put a random address in here. So we're going to go to this Grayton Road address here, so I'm taking it someplace else. All the other car information, customer information, so forth will stay the same, but I do have to put services on my second call. So maybe, let's see, what do I have? Let's see, a tow. Let's do a flatbed charge here for the second tow out. Save it. Verify my addresses. All right. So again, now I have 2 calls. This one is now released out of my impound. This one is my tow out or any other services I might need to add. I'm going to manually finish these out again, but normally you would dispatch these out to a driver and they would finish it out. So let's finish these out today. Let's say 3 p.m. And then that original call, I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The first one was already finished because it was impounded vehicle. All right. So 10-5-12. All right. So let's go to our posting screen again. All right, there's both of my calls. I had to search for it just because of how we have it in our test database, but normally both of those calls would show up here. So I got call 10512 for 2 of my calls. Again, one of them's the flatbed. One of them has the storage and everything else on it. And I'm going to merge them again in the system here. Again, if I would run these invoices, I would have a single invoice for a single call until I do this posting or this create invoice step. So we'll go ahead and save it. Get a green check mark on it. And then let's go ahead and take a look at our invoice now. So instead of it being 2 separate invoices, I should have the same thing as our swap out. So here it is, our storage, our impound fee, and private property charge. It shows, who I released it to because it was an impound. The service date on that one, which would have been July 18th in this example. Our new call, we towed it out today, 10-4. Again, all the same type of information. Different addresses, obviously, because you took it somewhere else. Because of the invoice style, it looks like it spanned 2 pages, and then my total amount due, $2,052.50. So for the Retow to work, it will release the car out of impound to begin with, create the second call afterwards, and then if we need to take any payments on it, we can take it at that time, whether you want to take it on the call directly here with take payment, or if you're going to take it in the accounting section, so under enter payment. Just depends where you want to take that payment. But that's really all there is between those 2 features and when and why you would use those features. So again, duplicated call, separate call numbers, possibly separate vehicles, an example of maybe a police wreck or a wreck that has multiple cars at it that you have to create separate calls for. Swap out if you're switching out a vehicle somewhere else. Again, that might be useful for the example of taking a car out to an airport and bringing their car back, something like that. Again, swap out, same call number, and then you won't see the merged invoices until we post it or create the invoice. And then retow is basically taking the same car and towing that same car out somewhere else. Typically, it's going to be in your impound, though, at that point, and then we're going to tow it out to another location. Again, in that step, it will release it out of impound and then create the second call for you afterwards. So that way you're not basically by mistake leaving that car in your impound. It will remove it. So quick recap on just really what we covered today. Like always, if we have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below. You obviously give us a call also. If there's any topics you want to see, let me know. Next week, we're going to be diving into that posting and that create invoicing page a little bit more in detail. There's a lot of, or at least a couple new features that we've added recently. So without if there's no other questions on the topic, let me know. Again, with these live trainings, we're able to leave comments, questions that can be answered live while we're on these every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern. But again, if there's any topics you want to see, just leave it in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Have a good day.